Understanding annuals and when to plant them and why to plant them is more of a misconception than it is a problem. But today we're going to treat it like a question, and we're going to give you some advice.
What is the problem with annuals? To me, it's not a problem as much as it is the solution. There's a difference between perennials, typically your clovers and such, and annuals in the fact that you have the opportunity to plant them at the perfect time and plant them in the perfect place. Let's talk about both of those solutions. Number one, the perfect time. I like to anticipate about 45 days ahead of the first frost. For me, that's always early September. If you plant them too early, the plant matures to the point that it loses a lot of its palatability. It loses a lot of its attraction, and you don't get a lot of success hunting in and around it during the early part of the season. So I like that first week of September, knowing that I'm going to hunt the month of October in and around those annuals. Most importantly, when it comes to annuals, where do I plant them? And that has a lot to do with historical observed movement. I preserve my annuals for those hidey-hoes. I preserve them for those spots that I'm going to bow hunt the entire season. I pick the tree and then I plant the food plot.
Something early season that you like to watch for, and instinctively this happens over and over again when it's hot, 90 degrees, 85. The deer will feed out into a shady area. They'll stand and feed in a shady field a long time before they'll exit that particular spot and move on to the center of the field. So we'll try and watch that, and we'll enhance those shady areas. Really be cautious of that, because we've sat in the sun many times thinking, boy, I wish I was on the other side of the field.
I really like annuals. Growing up in the South, I'm a big fan of planting every year. You know what you got. You don't have to worry about, did my food plot make it through the summer, the hot days of the summer, plowing some dirt in September and planting Green Patch Plus full draw, and I know what I'm going to get, and it's going to last for 6 months. And an annual is designed to produce as much forage as it can in a short amount of time. That's 6 months. So it's great for hunting food plots, because the more browse pressure the deer put on them, the more it responds and tries to grow more forage. But it's real tender and real succulent. You can plant this September 15th, and October 1st, you've got a green 5 o'clock shadow across the field, and the deer will actually be in there.
I anticipate where the deer's bedding. I anticipate what the sun aspect will be so that my food plot is in the shade, because those deer love to feed out in those shady areas. I anticipate every possible thing I can going into the stand, leaving the stand. All of those things are very important to your overall success. Nothing is more important, though, than getting that food plot tucked into cover somewhere close to where those deer are going to bed, and they can get to that food plot during daylight hours so you can be successful when you hunt that annual food plot. When I think of how much food, I think in terms of 5%. If you're hunting 100 acres, I like 5 acres of food. Of that 5 acres, I'm going to have at least 1 acre in annuals, and they're going to be spread out in hidey holes all across that 100 acres.
So, if you can understand this, you can actually plant this stuff, and in 2 to 3 weeks, be hanging above it with your bow and arrow and hunting over it. Annuals come up fast. We like to say they scream out of the ground.
What you don't want to do are plant those seeds too deep, because it takes too much energy for them to break through that soil. A lot of times we'll disc the soil just very lightly, break it up, throw those maximum seeds out on top or the Green Patch Plus, and allow the rain to take them down.
So planting them in the northern climes, northern Minnesota and Wisconsin, those part of the world, we like to see those guys plant their annuals start about mid-August. And as you start coming further south, the Midwest, September 15th, on down into the deep south where we are, we always get started in September. It seems like folks think the earlier they plant the food plots, the quicker hunting season's going to get there. But a lot of it's planted in late September. And these annuals perform, they attract deer, they're tender, they're succulent. That's where a deer wants to be, because if you think about it, everything that's going on in the woods, all these plants that have been growing all spring and summer, they've matured, and they've gotten woody and stemmy, and they're tough, and you have something that's tender and succulent coming up in that food plot, that's where the deer are going to want to be. And if you'll use that to your advantage, you can really change your bow season.